dancing?
I am. I'm notorious for chair dancing.
This is a good song.
It is.
Why are we playing this song?
Oh, I know why we're singing it. Outside of the fact that it's super cool, it's good to chair dance and rubberneck too.
Yeah.
It's because we're kind of thinking about the end of a season.
The end of a season? The end of what season? What could we possibly be talking about?
Well, we could probably talk about lots of different seasons, but for most people, we're getting to the end of a school year.
Is that right?
Well, so I'm told. I mean, you have lots of folks that are really, honestly, they're counting down to the last day of school, and there's just a real
5,
4, 3, 2. Yeah. Oh no! But that's kind of an end point. It's a big end point, and I know as a career educator, there is something really significant about being able to count down to that last day and that period at the end of a sentence where you get to kind of reboot, kind of shift where your thinking is and all that. And so that's all good. There was just somebody outside the door.
Yeah, right. Of course. Of course. But
anyway, it's a really important season. And when I think about this season too, it's a graduation season. So while it's the end of one season, it's the beginning of another one for, folks that are fixing to take that next step into their journey. So
yeah, it's been graduation season for sure. My daughter graduated from college. You might have to take this whole show over because I'm a little hacky right now.
Oh, I thought you were getting emotional. Now, listen, don't dangle it out there that you want me to take over because I will, and then we'll all be in trouble.
Well, yeah, my daughter graduated. I guess I'm a little emotional, but she graduated from college, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, I have a daughter that's in college? Man, that's some kind of milestone, and what milestones am I hitting in age and otherwise? Or what? Then it makes me think, well, gosh, she's achieving. What have I not achieved? There's all sorts of
that's what I was sitting there thinking.
Reflection that you have
when you see someone that's part of your life or part of your sphere of influence that hits one of those milestones. My first thought is, oh my gosh, am I that old? And the answer is yes. We were and we'll talk about the mini summit later. But when one of the young men, a senior from one of our local high schools, came to the podium to speak, and I looked at him and I'm like, who do you belong to? And he told me, and I'm like, I taught your daddy. I mean, that was like a really, really bizarre moment.
I remember that interaction up on stage. That was the funniest thing. But then did he say something like, but I'm the better version or something?
Well,
it was some quip he had, which was classic.
Which was perfect. And to be quite honest, and I didn't say this to him at the time, his dad would have said something like that when he was in school. Just quick on his feet, and all that. But and as he walked away, I told him, I said, yeah, you did take things up a level.
That's
but,
right.
I love doing that. So
yeah, and we'll get to the SCILS mini summit soon enough. It was a great time, of course, and, I guess we could go out of order if we wanted to.
Nah, we're talking seasons right now.
Yeah, that's right. So I know you've noticed Studio D. The season is here. Summertime, quote unquote, is here. We're in the midsection between our spring semester at Louisiana Delta Community College ending and the summer semester beginning. By the way, we did just have a graduation on Monday for all our LDCC graduates. Congratulations.
For real. Absolutely.
All the graduates. I know ULM had a graduation. Has Tech? No,
not
Tech's
yet.
not yet.
No, we're quarter sister, remember.
That's
we're
right.
special.
A little bit later. But we're celebrating everybody in the successful season that has been had. And then we're looking into the new season. What can we do? Well, this is a time maybe of transition, to reflect, to maybe think about what we can do differently, do better. And I just like the fact that education in general, higher ed, secondary, the K through 8, it's all the same thing. It's almost like we need these transition periods so that we can take a breath and then kind of focus on something different, maybe learn a new skill, and then start anew come the fall.
Well, and even for those who, when the academic year ends, even if they're going to be in class or they're going to be working on things for their classroom or they're going to be doing professional development or whatever it is they're doing, there is just that sense of a shift in your rhythm, a shift in speed, if you will, an opportunity to kind of take a step back. You're still moving, but there is a different rhythm, a different speed to it, and a chance to refocus. At this point, people have been scattered. I mean, I used to say, man, spring was outer limits. Once you get, into the second semester of the year, when all the spring sports start and everything starts going 90-0, people are just hanging on. I mean, it's just crazy. And so, no doubt. Somebody gave me a card one time, and it was a cat. I'm not a cat person, but it was a cat on a screen door, and it was just hanging on. And they're like, "This is how I feel." And I'm like, "Okay, I get that." So, and so, just finally getting to the end of all that, thinking I made it, I survived. And it's not just kids; it's adults. They need that break, and so it's a much needed break, and it's time. We always know when it's time, and it's time.
So I'm going to ask you to give me one more break while I clear my throat. Go ahead.
Yeah, and okay, so poor Ryan, I don't know if I brought this with me or not, over from Ruston. So anyway, he is struggling. He needs a break. I mean, there's no doubt about that, because he is a hard-working man, and here he is on the mic this morning trying to hold it together.
Well, my mom used to say something funny. She would always say, whenever you go through a trying time, at least when she would go through a trying time, when it was all said and done, that's when you relax, but then your body said, oh, okay, well, now we can make room for the recovery process, which is going to include putting you down for a couple of days. And I feel like that has happened to me, just everything happening, like we said, 90-0. And then all of a sudden last week, things started catching up. It's like, you know what? You probably need to just sit still a little bit. So forgive me, listening audience, for battling a little bit of a cold. Actually, I think I'm on the downside. I know I'm on the downside of it. But it's that lingering, little something that you just got to get rid of.
So I'm going to tell you this. One of my lasting memories from the 70s is when I was watching one of the music shows, award shows on TV, and Lou Rawls, great soul singer, was on it, and he was singing his big song, You're Gonna Miss My Lovin', and he started singing it, and he started coughing. And he just kept coughing. Man, his background singers just kept singing, and he coughed and coughed and coughed and coughed until he wasn't coughing anymore, and then he just started singing again. And I always took that was so awesome. He didn't panic. He didn't run off stage. He's like, okay, I've got a cough. I'm just going to cough till I'm done coughing, and then I'm going to catch back up. And I think there's a real lesson in that you stay with it. You roll with whatever, and you just can't let stuff like that stop you. So, all right, Ryan, still on the podcast, still rolling. Yeah, I'm going to start calling you Lou.
That's the encouragement I needed.
That's it.
Can we get a round of applause?
That's it.
All right. So, we had our opening. We talked a little bit about the seasons. We want to make sure we make time to reflect back just a little bit, just a month, maybe 3 weeks, because I feel like the season really never ends for SCILS.
No.
If we think about it, there's always something going on. But certainly we try to take it in little bitty chunks. And every month we do this podcast and we talk about all the wonderful things that are happening across the corridor, across the network. Again, thinking about the summit that just happened and how wonderful that was to exchange ideas with everyone in the service area. But we'll go and do what we normally do, which is at least start off with a reflection on some things that happened more recently.
Yeah.
And so if you don't mind, I'll put up.
Do that.
I'll put up something. Let's make sure we got the right thing up here. So this one says, SCILS team joined forces with the chemistry department at Louisiana Tech University for a powerful launch of its 2024 EPSCoR Middle Grades in the Mix program. Tell us about that.
Okay, so this is one of the great projects that we do. Of course, I know y'all are like, you say that every time, but this one is really it's unique because we bring in middle grade students to the tech campus. They get to work with two of our professors, Dr. Bill Deese, Dr. Christy Ruddock, and they actually do a version of a freshman lab. Now, I'm sitting here trying to imagine what it would have been like as a middle grade student to go to a university campus, go into the lab at the university campus with the professors, and do a lab that freshmen at Tech are going to do one day. And it just kind of gives them an introduction to what the kind of the vibe is and all that. But in the middle of it, they're learning something. Christy is very intentional. Bill's very intentional about talking about chemical and physical properties and chemical and physical change. And the kids learn a lot about this, balancing equations. They kind of take it up a notch from what it would normally be in their middle school classroom. And then we talk about careers in chemistry. How do you connect this to your future? If this is something you like doing, here are some things you could do with it. And so then that's kind of the whole focus of the day. Of course, then we take them to Tech's table where they get to eat with the university students and eat all they want of whatever they want. And that's usually the highlight of the day. But look at this. Can you imagine? I mean, if I'd have had that opportunity when I was their age, I mean, I might be doing who knows what. I might be sitting right here. You never know. Right. But I just think, until you introduce young people to the options, the opportunities, the possibilities of life, they don't know. And I just think it's fabulous. And so we love doing it, and we've been able to get more funding each year to do this. And that says that the state likes our model, they like what we're doing, and they want us to impact more kids. And so we had about 200 kids this year.
I'm so curious as to what they're doing with those, I want to call them, they're not Petri dishes, but the experiment that they're doing.
Well plates. We call those well plates. And so actually what they're doing is they are mixing, actually some of them will chemically react, but they're mixing different solutions. It's a mystery bottle lab. Mm-hmm. Last year we did mystery powders. This year we do mystery labs. And see, look at the face. Look at her face like, oh, wow, look at that. They mix two colorless solutions, and then it's going white.
Into a color.
White precipitant in the plate. And so anyway, that's kind of what it is. And that was our very first day. We kicked it off there.
Wow. Yeah, and the legendary Bill Deese, Dr. Bill Deese.
Legendary. Okay, and if you went back and looked at that picture, mm-hmm. Bill was actually sick. But like you, Ryan, you sold your own, and he had on a mask, and he was doing his big seam sitting back there because he does his demonstrations. And so here he is in his mask because he wasn't going to disappoint the kids, and he wasn't going to, leave us in the lurch. And so, sold your own. That's kind of it. Grit, perseverance.
We'll zoom in on him.
Yeah, there he is over there at his table. Look at him in his mask. Who was that masked man?
Yeah, who was it? Who was it, right?
It's the man, the myth, the legend, Bill Deese.
So I also heard, and it was announced at the summit, mm-hmm. that we have a new partner in our midst.
Oh, yes, we do.
And it's always exciting to hear that because, I think now the stars have aligned. All of the parishes are represented in the network.
That's it.
And our latest to join us is none other than East Carroll Parish.
There you go. Lakeisha Lucas Powell right there. We made a trip. I made a connection with her, and we made a trip up to Lake Providence to drop off some STEM kits. She was so excited. And when you see someone else excited, you cannot help but follow them in that excitement. And so she was thrilled. She had no idea. And this is the deal, Ryan. We keep running across people that have no idea. No. They don't know what's going on. And so when she found out about the possibility, she's like, we are in. I want to do this. And so I was so tickled over that. And immediately I sent her an invitation to come to the mini summit. She came, drove over from Lake Providence, came to the mini summit, and I'm, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I hope she'll get something out of it. Well, then she sends me an email and she says, okay, after coming to the summit, I am fired up and ready. And so we'll talk a little bit more about, the opportunities that were presented there. But so we're already moving forward on partnership activities for next year. How exciting is that?
Isn't that something?
It is.
How somebody just has to be touched in some way, usually the summit, but even if it's just a one-on-one with you, whatever it might be, and they think, man, this is amazing. I can't believe that all this is happening.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, sometimes you just have to get creative, and I've learned that, throughout my life, but I was thinking, how am I going to get in? How am I going to get in? I don't know what to do. And so I kind of became a Facebook stalker, and I'm not even a social media person, but I was thinking, who would be working with the kids over in East Carroll? I went to the 4-H page. And
really?
So I went into the 4-H page and found her and sent her a message. Like, she didn't know me from Adam. And I sent a message that said, hey, Cathi Cox-Bonial here. I'm the director. She didn't know what I was talking about, but she took the meeting. And then I brought her STEM kits that I, in partnership with Region 6, made, available to her. Well, you would have thought Santa had arrived. That always makes me feel good. And so there it was. And so it's kind of like, again, step out, take a chance. I mean, the worst thing that can happen, the worst thing that can happen is they say no.
Right.
But they didn't say no.
Your sales pitch, your elevator pitch worked.
I guess.
And I mean, that's fantastic that you reached out. You said you're kind of stalked, but sometimes it takes that kind of, I don't want to call it aggressiveness, but certainly
It's assertive. It's not aggressive.
Stick-to-itiveness to make it all work and make the connections, because sometimes people don't know, like
grit.
you said, they don't know what's really in store for them until they talk about it a little bit. They meet with someone who's got the passion, who's got the fire, then all of a sudden it kindles the flame in them too. So kudos to you for reaching out and continuing the mission. I mean, I know you wouldn't do anything different, but it's just the idea that I don't know that everybody thinks to be to do what you did, and so it's great that you
Well, and I got to say, in all honesty, my goal, it was a goal this year. I set that goal. I said I want all my parishes, for us to have a strategic partnership in all of our parishes, and that meant before the end of the year, I had to get this done. Well, I tried a couple of other avenues and, just didn't work out, and that's okay. Things happen. But then it was like, no, I have set this goal for myself. And I guess there's power in realizing that setting goals is really important. And especially, if you are working toward them. And so then you're like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And so I just feel incredibly blessed that it worked out. And we are absolutely thrilled to have East Carroll in the network now.
Absolutely. So moving on to another wonderful event.
Yeah.
Don't you love how the partnership grows beyond the boundary?
Absolutely.
Of Region 8?
So, I can't overstate the importance of collaboration. I don't care if we're talking about SCILS, if we're talking about Louisiana Delta Community College, if we're talking about whatever. We were not meant to be in a silo in this world. And there's power in numbers and strength when we partner up. And so what you're seeing there is my counterpart down in Alexandria. That's Jennifer DePriest, and she is the director of the Region 6 LaSTEM Center. And her statewide initiative is Recipe for Rural STEM. She focuses on rural STEM. Her area across the middle part of the state from Alexandria over to the Mississippi line is very much like our area where we go all the way over to the Mississippi line. So we collaborate a lot because while my statewide initiative is the Louisiana Girls Collaborative, I'm still a rural area. And so we team up. So we met someone at one of the events that was hosted at Louisiana Delta Community College. Someone came to my table and they're like, I would love to have somebody come down to our place in Sicily Island and do something. I said, well, I'm going to connect you with the director down there. Well, when I did connect, I told Jen, I said, let me come down with you and I'll help. And so it worked out beautifully because we were down at this family day and we handed out resources and STEM kits and all that. Look at that little precious thing, looking at how a heart works. And it drew people from our region, it drew people from Jen's region, and it allowed us to kind of, expound upon the LaSTEM effort and everything. So, yeah, super collaboration. We just had a blast, and they've already set us up for another one in August.
So this one, was this in Alexandria proper, or was this?
Sicily Island.
Sicily, that's right.
Sicily Island.
Yeah, that's a great thing. Mm-hmm. Bringing STEM wherever.
Meet them where they are. Meet them where they are. That's exactly right.
Wow. All right. Let me see if I can make it through 2 sentences.
I bet you will.
So the next thing that we have up for everybody to see is Carroll High School.
Oh, yeah. So, and again, y'all, this is what's so fantastic. The word gets out there and people, say they'll reach out and say, I heard so-and-so did this, or we heard that you're doing this or that or whatever. Well, that's what happened with Carroll High. Now, I will say Carroll High School is in a partnership with Grambling State University, who we work very closely with, and they're doing some mentoring over at Carroll High School and, STEM-related stuff and everything. So they're already aware of things that are going on in our neck of the woods, but they really wanted to up their technology game. And so they reached out and we connected them with Dr. Lisa Dick, who kind of heads up the entire Emergent Learning Research Institute. And so these kids came in and they were able to work with augmented and virtual reality, which is super hot right now. They did some coding and then kind of put their toe in the artificial intelligence pool. So, this is all kind of new territory. I kind of feel like we're on the Star Trek Enterprise going into this. And we'll be doing more with this. This is a new thing in our College of Education and Human Sciences at Louisiana Tech. But Carroll High School was our first group to come and do one of these things. And so we were thrilled to welcome them. That's Dr. Dustin Whitlock there. And so you can see the kiddos doing their thing with the different areas of technology. And they had a great day, and it was great for us, to have the opportunity to host them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited because AR, VR, artificial intelligence, it's the wave. It's the future. It's the present. It's the future.
It is.
And all of us have to embrace it. And so to expose these high school students to that, right on Tech's campus that's going to pay dividends down the road because they'll be familiar with it. They might take some of what they learned and then bring it back to campus, and I think it's just a good thing for everybody.
I do too, and I think one thing we have to be really aware of is we need to start them because before we get turned around, it's going to have changed again.
Oh yeah.
And if they have zero contact with it or zero exposure, then they're even farther behind when we take the next step. So we try to stay on the cutting edge with that as best we can. And of course, we want to engage with our young people. I think it also helps them make informed decisions about what they might want to do. We worked with a group of kids yesterday down in Fort Necessity, and we kept saying, y'all, if you see something you like, if you do something you like, this is something you could pursue. And I mean, kids get hired right out of high school that are really good with, their technology skills or coding, computer science, cybersecurity, make really, really good livings. Mm-hmm. And so we want them to be aware that opportunity exists for you. And it's the same thing with that AR, VR and all that. I mean, that's the wave of the future.
Right. And the jobs and opportunities aren't just local, but they're global. And so to get them thinking about, how can I make an impact? Obviously, we want everybody to stay in Louisiana. But then how can I be in this one space geographically, but yet impact a company or, a region or a country or something, far away. It's fine.
And then I love what you said because they can be in this area geographically because I know we have, there are adults that fear the kids are going to leave and they're going to, kind of devastate the community and all. They can stay right there and work remotely. Mm-hmm. And so we can remain here contributing to our own communities, contributing to our own state, but then having an impact nationally, globally, however you want to look at it. Yeah.
So speaking of impact. The great summit that is.
I don't
know why y'all put me up there as the first picture, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
That's a great picture.
Yeah, I definitely feeling kind of politician-like up there.
I was thinking presidential.
Oh, well, I like that even better, right? Yeah, so might not be feeling all that presidential today, but yeah, that was a great time, the mini summit. We've alluded to it so many times in the course of the conversation. Just a wonderful gathering of all of the partners, brilliant minds coming together to share ideas, share thoughts for the future, maybe even think about collaborating with each other across the network, and then even talking about how do we take the resources that the network has given mm-hmm. and expand on that to make an even greater impact. How can we carry the flag of skills beyond just what Cathi Cox, Missy Woolley, and the team do? And bring it, further. So I think that was something that was brought up as well during the conversation. But all kinds of great conversations. What's your reflections on that?
So, I've had some of my counterparts, and they're like, "So why do y'all do this? Because it's not like a conference, mm-hmm. and it's not like people have to come and do demonstrations or showcase or anything." And my first thought is, first, for us, it's a celebration.
That's right.
It's a celebration of all these mighty people that have been engaged in our work throughout the year and bringing them together. People in East Carroll don't necessarily have an opportunity to see the people in Jackson Parish. Mm-hmm. And so give them an opportunity to come together and say, hey, we're in this thing together and contribute. So I love the celebratory origin of it. Let's celebrate. But also to highlight those successes. Oh, Jen came up. That's right. She came up. To celebrate.
Here's highlighting a success.
Oh, I'm telling you, no kidding. That was our welcome. Melissa Lee, Miss Louisiana's teen, and of course her whole platform is STEM. Mm-hmm. And so she was brilliant in her opening remarks for people that were there. They'll remember she gave us the official welcome in her sparkly crown looking gorgeous. Of course. And just did a great job. But there you go. That's a highlight. There are a couple of our TSIDA Award winners. Alyssa Riordan from Neville Junior High on the left, and then Dr. Ann Case Hanks on the right. Ben Hobson was stranded in an airport and couldn't be there for the third. But Ryan, you won the Tosida. Like you and Jamie were the inaugural winners, and so you know what it felt like for these people to get this.
Yeah, it's really special. In fact, that's still my favorite award to this day. I've done various things, and I've just always enjoyed the feeling of being mentioned in the same breath as the award is named for. So I know that it's a big deal. I know for you, giving it out, you may feel like, this is well deserved, but the people that receive it, they really take it to heart. And the ones that receive it don't necessarily work towards it. Most of the time, we're not even thinking about any awards when we just partner with SCILS and we work to provide STEM education or STEM outreach. We just do it because that's what we're called to do. That's what we love to do, or that's what we wanted to do. But I know that Dr. Hanks, Ann Case Hanks, is no different, and the Miss Alyssa, also they're no different. They're just champions for the cause, and it's always a good feeling when you're recognized.
Right.
But again, it's that's secondary to the fulfillment of putting forth the effort to make a change.
Well, and that's part of the fun of it, to stop and say, we see you. We recognize the level of innovation you bring to our work. We recognize the impact of the transformation that you've been involved with. And it's also an encouragement. Keep up the good work.
Going.
And so, we're delighted to do that. And I think that's another reason why, can we stop here and talk about this? So this is our Downsville Community Charter School team that won the high school division of the Sea Perch Challenge and are headed to the Global Challenge in Maryland. They are prepping now, and so they were there to be recognized. We like to celebrate our partners and spotlight success and high-achieving young people. So this year, I had them all just come. I just really was intending for them to come up and introduce themselves to the group. Was stunned when they all wanted to say a little something. Now, Ryan, you and I have been on the planet longer than these kids, and I don't know if you remember when you were in middle school or high school, whatever, but if you were asked to get up in front of a room full of people and just, off the cuff, say something, I was just blown away with their ability to express themselves, and without fail, they talked about the impact of the opportunities that they had had.
And you would have thought it was scripted, but it wasn't.
It was not. It was completely off the cuff because I had no idea they were going to do it. Right. But I mean, in Missy and I were talking about it, it wasn't just them talking about the power of the STEM experience and how it was impacting them, in academia. We heard them talking about how it was transforming them personally.
Oh, they built relationships with the team
unbelievable.
Members. Yeah.
I remember one of them was like, I found my people.
Yeah.
And talked about how it had helped her overcome trauma in her life. And, there were people wiping tears. I was sitting there thinking, oh, whoa, I wasn't anticipating that. It was fantastic. And so they connected. One of these young ladies came up to see me when we had a little network for people that weren't there. We had a little networking session. I did things a little different this year, and I kind of liked the way it went this year because I gave them a very short period of time. Said, go find two people you don't know,
That's right.
See how you can connect with the work and skills and everything, and what could come out of this kind of partnership. I mean, people just went to it. I mean, they just went to it. And so we had, Dr. George Knopflin from Grambling went straight to Roxanne Smith of ULM, and he's like, I want to get the Call Me Mr. program involved with your Kid Win Challenge. Well, wow. Can you imagine this group of African-American education majors, males, being involved with this? Oh, my gosh. And so that was huge, a huge win. So that's just one example. But what I was getting to, one of the young ladies that you see in the picture here came up to me. She made a beeline to me. As soon as we started, she's like, Miss Cathi, we want to start a STEM club at school. We want to keep things going even when we're not working on competition and everything. And I'm like, we can do that. And so you see a fire in the belly of young people. You see a fire in the belly of people who've been doing this for a long time, but yet they remain energized and wanting to take the next step. And as I watched the room networking and felt the energy and then heard from people afterwards what they got out of it. I mean, Lakeisha, that was the first time she had ever been anywhere around any of us. And I'm thinking, I hope she's getting something out of this. She is fired up, and so Yeah, I just can't say enough about it. I was thrilled.
I have two comments. One about the picture. I was privileged to judge this group.
Yes.
At the Sea Perch Challenge, and I actually had to go back and adjust my score sheet. This was the group that I think they scored, some really high mark, and I said, oh wait, I forgot to add another 5 or 10 points because you also did this other part right. But I was so blown away by how many points they had scored, I forgot to add up some additional points for something that they had done as well. So it was amazing. This group was really amazing.
So before you get off this picture, I want to just point out, so you see Melissa in the middle. They wanted to come and meet her. They have invited her to come to their school because they think it'll be powerful for other students to meet her and engage with her. And of course, she is totally willing. So you have the Sea Perch team. There's Melissa, but notice in the front
who is that little girl?
Okay, that youngster is the little sister of one of the Sea Perch winners.
Oh, wow.
Now, ask me how powerful it is for her to be there to see her sister go to the podium, get to talk about her experience. She hears all these great things going on in STEM. She witnesses beautiful girls that are powerful and smart and in STEM, and sees a room full of diversity and realizing everybody's got a place. What kind of impact does that have on that little person? What kind of impact does that have on them? Look at that little face.
Yeah, you can tell the impact is on her face
Oh my
because she is
gosh.
smiling from ear to ear.
I mean, there's just so much in that one picture. We could talk a whole podcast about
right.
that one picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was really a great time. And I wanted to get back to this group.
Oh, do you have something you're going to say? Because I have something to say about this.
I want you to tell the story. But this group right here, all of the groups that got up and talked were really excellent. And in fact, I started questioning my own public speaking skills because I'm like, wait a minute. There's 13 and 14-year-olds up here that are doing such an outstanding job. I think I have to go back and kind of hone my craft a little bit.
Well, so we had an opportunity with our partnership in Kidwind to invite some students to go down to New Orleans to participate in this huge conference in the big New Orleans Convention Center that was all focused about wind energy and all of this. And so, it's a tough time of year for people to get away because, anyway, Cedar Creek School was like, we are in. And so you're seeing their AP Environmental Science class, members of them there. And in fact, the young man that is to the far left, his father is the one that I taught.
Yeah,
and so,
right.
This is my shout out to Charlie Morgenthau. Mm-hmm. That's his son. And so
very impressive.
Yeah, they went down, and when I looked at the pictures of them at the conference, their counselor Stacy Doyle Hunt sent me some. They looked incredible. I mean, they looked professional. They just represented us so well. They really didn't know what they were getting into down there, but they embraced the opportunity. And so you see the young lady that's in that kind of a melon-colored shirt. I don't know if melon was the right color, peach, something. And the young man next to her on the right.
You described it better than I would.
Okay.
I would have defaulted to pink.
Yeah, something
but
like that.
But I'm a guy, so I get that. I can do that.
Anyway, they won first place.
Yeah, amazing.
In a turbine challenge down there. But the thing that really got me is the young lady that's at the podium, Bailey Adams. She got up and so eloquently talked about how important the opportunity was for her because she intends to study environmental policy or environmental studies in college, and she's fixing to graduate. And she talked about how the networking and interacting with all those professionals and looking at these opportunities. I mean, it absolutely connected to what her life's work will be. And I thought, that's a win right there. That is your win. Yes, we exposed these kids. Yes, they represented us well, but we are talking powerful impact when we're looking at workforce. And I wouldn't give anything for that.
I don't know. I can't imagine or remember a time when SCILS wasn't around. It's been just with us for a while. It hadn't been that long. But the thing is, what were kids who were interested in environmental science doing? What were their outlets before SCILS came around? To me, that's the big question.
Yeah.
What could they do? Just maybe do some self-taught, learn on your own type of stuff. But this gives them an opportunity not just to learn more, then they're taking what they learn and they're applying it in a competitive sphere and proving to themselves that they belong. And so that's powerful.
So it's funny you said that, because Michael Arquin, who is the head of KidWin, when we were talking about this, and he really had to do a sales pitch to the conference people. This anyway, because they're like, no, we don't want kids down here. They had such a bad their mindset about kids, their anticipation. They were like thinking they were going to be like rowdy and knocking things down and not. I mean, they just couldn't imagine kids coming down and wanting to participate. So knowing how well these young people went down, represented SCILS, represented their school, represented themselves, and showed those. Because I say all the time, adults underestimate kids, and for them to go say, "Look at us." And that wasn't their goal, to go down and puff up and show off, but to know that those adults that they interacted with down there, they came away learning something as well.
Yeah, they changed the minds and the hearts of those folks. For sure. I think we've scrolled through all of them.
That's some of the networking. And in looking at this picture, right off the bat, I'm seeing, 3 people right there that this was their first time to be at a mini summit. 4, maybe. This was their first time to be at a mini summit. I want you to look at young people talking to adults. I was blown away. I loved it.
And then I was excited because representatives from code.org came by, and we visited with them.
I saw you with Rose.
It was just a great time, because we started talking about, okay, how can we connect point A to point B and share resources, and it's just a matter of another phone call before we can figure out from Louisiana Delta side how we can incorporate that into exposing 7th graders, 8th graders, even high school students to computer science concepts through curriculum that's already built. It's a turnkey solution. So, don't have to reinvent the wheel. You said that a few times on the show before, where we're looking to you and Missy to teach us how to do CS for you. And hopefully it won't just be Delta that takes part in that train the trainer, but others. And then we have code.org as an additional element. And so everything's just coming together, because my focus tends to be on the computer science, the computer programming. That's just kind of what I came up with. That's what we're teaching here at Delta. And so when we talked about the House Bill 264, and how that's in Senate now, it's probably going to pass, and high schoolers are going to be required to take and successfully complete a computer science credit, at least, a semester of computer science as part of their at every public high school as part of their requirements. And so I'm thinking, well, and we talked about it again, but prior, in the one previously, how do we continue to expose those young minds from 5th and 6th grade even to the concept that this logic and this way of doing things with a powerful tool in the computer is going to stay with us, is going to keep being present in your life. And then you're going to, not only is it going to be just an option, but now it's going to be a requirement looking like, we have a mission to ensure that all these young minds are exposed. And then of course they come up through high school, they see it, and then some of them are going to want to continue on, and then we at Delta can take them in and say, okay, well, let's keep this going. And Tech and the ULM and Grambling and all these, it's just a feeder into all of our technology programs. And so I know I got off on a tangent, but that's just to say, that the opportunity to network and talk about those things and then find even more resources than I thought that we had access to was so powerful in this year's mini summit. And I'm so grateful that I was able to attend and make those connections.
Well, and when I looked out and I saw you talking to Rose, who was with code.org, it reminded me that what a great partnership, because we have hosted them on the tech campus. And it's very important what you said, Ryan. You don't reinvent the wheel. If somebody has figured this out and they've got a really great way of dealing with it, partner with them. What we bring to the table is we recruit for them. We provide a space. We'll have snacks. Whatever it is. But they come up and they handle the instruction. And that is empowering to them, but it's also empowering to us, because we feel like we're part of a winning team. And I love bringing those resources to the table. And I'm going to further this by what you said. We cannot wait till kids are in high school to start this.
That's right.
We were having this conversation on the ULM campus yesterday when we were dropping off some things that we are contributing to their nursing boot camp for high school students this summer. And we were talking about how it needs to be pushed down more and more, because kids are going to be required to make an informed decision earlier and earlier. And by the time they get to be sophomores, juniors, they've already decided, or they've opted out, or they whatever. And so we have to put those tools and allow them to put tools in their toolkit that will equip them to make the kind of decisions. It's kind of like telling those young'uns yesterday, if you're interested in this and you're willing to work toward it. I mean, Missy actually cited a high school student that graduated and went right into a job that paid $125,000 a year. No further training. He was just that good at his coding.
Hold up, time out.
Yeah.
Where is this guy working
Well,
now?
I'm not going to throw him under the bus.
That's right.
But, if you don't know that, you don't know that you could do that.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, it seems like, we teach children, pre-K, kindergarten, we're teaching them how to read earlier. We're teaching them how to write. We're teaching them mathematical concepts.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, if I have one red crayon and I add another red crayon, how many red crayons do I have? It's two. So why not teach them some of the concepts and the foundational elements of logic and code? And I think it could be done really early, like you said.
Well, and
it's imperative for us
that's
to
what
do
we
it.
do with code.org. We do the elementary. And here's the thing. I'm of the generation that the coding and all, that's not part of my natural language. It's not, my wheelhouse.
It should be.
It'll never be because I'm not a digital native. But these kids now are digital natives. And so the coding, the computer science and all that, that is part of that should be part of their everyday language. Just like, when we talk about education, reading, writing, arithmetic, computer science, because that's just part of our lives now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So my next question for you is this. What's next?
Oh, Lord. Well, it's a new season. It's summer and all the stuff that goes with summer.
And I was wondering, well, maybe there's not as much going on this summer. You can kind of, not to say that you would sit back and relax, but you would just get a little quieter and kind of
Wait a minute. When am I ever quiet?
Well,
okay.
Things would get quieter, and then you could focus on, some deep work or something like. But apparently, it's just going to keep on rolling. Huh?
No, we were on our way back from Fort Necessity yesterday when my boss called and said she had added a couple of things in Bossier starting next week. So it's like, okay.
Time out.
Yeah.
You have a boss? What is this?
I know it. Don't tell anybody.
And they tell you what to do? Wait, this is a
Actually,
surprise.
she was calling to make sure it was okay with me, but it was already done. So,
there you go.
but it's okay. Well, that's part of what summer's all about is outreach and impacting people. And so this year we've kind of stretched a little bit, which I love. We're pushing our summer efforts out. Used to we expected everybody to come to tech. Well, that's no more. We are taking it to the streets, and so we are partnering with others in our skills network, and they are helping and we are helping them. And so our Kid Win Camp, which is going to be full, I cannot believe it. We're hosting it at ULM, and it's going to be taught. It's going to be facilitated by our two TSIDA winners.
That's fantastic.
Alyssa Riordan and Ben Hobson. And they both went to the Recharge Academy last year in New Jersey. They have just been rock stars for us. And so we have tapped them, and it's going to be fantastic. We are working with the Children's Museum in Monroe, and we're doing a series of STEM camp days over there. And like I said, we're supporting the nursing, but we're really trying to diversify and get out here where people, we're interacting with people where they are. And so that's very exciting to us.
It is exciting. And is there a calendar of events out and available for the STEM Network to
So let me tell you, we have, I'm pretty excited about this. Every date for next year is set. Every facility is reserved with the exception of one, because we are trying to find an appropriate facility in Ouachita Parish for our first Rural STEM Day for the SCILS Network. And it has to be pretty big, but it also has to be really cheap. So we can't pay thousands of dollars. And
interesting.
So it is very interesting. And so, the mega shelter down in Alexandria donates that facility for this. It's huge. It's fabulous. It's perfect. And so we're trying to find a similar location around here. We'll never have anything that looks like a mega shelter because we don't have hurricanes this far up. Well, I say that, Hurricane Laura, a few years back. But anyway, that's what we're working on. And we've had a couple of nibbles. And so as soon as that is confirmed, The calendar will roll out. It has new features next year, and we're excited about that. And so, yeah, we will be showcasing it.
I'm wondering about the summer calendar.
It's full done.
Is that already?
It's full done.
Can we see the summer calendar?
I will get you a summer calendar. I don't have it in front of my face right now, but we can do that.
Okay, that would be great.
Good.
Especially if you're going to be in these parts.
These parts, I will be.
All right. Well, you reminded me of a song.
I knew it. I saw you, and I knew it.
You said taking it to the streets. And believe it or not, I do have
There
a
they
thing.
are.
I like the Doobie Brothers. And I remembered that they had a song called Taking It to the
This
Streets.
is from my senior year in high school.
Is that right?
It is, and I've seen them perform this live multiple times.
I feel like
That's kind of our mantra with SCILS. You don't know me.
That's right.
But I am your sister.
look at that. Michael McDonald. That's what he
That
was.
is Mike. And in fact, the last time I saw the Doobie Brothers, they had Michael McDonald, and they had Tom Johnson. So they had both lead singers. It's
Wow.
pretty darn cool. They did everything. Everything.
Every song.
Every
one of them.
from all eras, which was just the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And because my husband had never seen them, I got a special gig where we got to go to sound check.
What? That's amazing. And it's classics. If you have not listened to the Doobie Brothers before, please take some time and look them up on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music.
They're everywhere. They're just in the air.
Yeah. Well, with that,
I'm
we'll
gonna start singing. Yeah, I better
I know.
stop.
With that, we're gonna end the episode. We'll see you at next time,
That's right. Next time,
and we hope to see you at some point at one of these skills events.
somewhere out in the SCILS universe.
All right.
Cheers.